introduce the commencement speaker for the class of 2017, Mr. Chris Schillig. Mr. Schillig is a 1986 graduate of Marlington High School, a 1990 graduate of Mount Union College, has master's degrees from Ashland University and Southern New Hampshire University, has been teaching at Alliance High School since 2002, teaches as adjunct faculty member at Stark State College since 2009, has written a weekly column for the Alliance Review since 2001, is married to Holly, has one daughter, Mallory, lives in Alliance, loves teaching, reading, and writing, and is a huge comic book and Star Wars geek. So, without further ado, the 2017 commencement speaker, as chosen by the senior class of 2017, Mr. Chris Schillig.
Got to get out on my props here. Class of 2017, you made it. Good job. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you guys for selecting me as this year's commencement speaker. I'm almost as honored as I am scared. Maybe that's the other way around. Part of my fear comes from having big shoes to fill. I'm following such incredible speakers as Mrs. Davis, who wisely asked for advice from the faculty to share in her speech, Mr. Clegg, now retired, who sang a rousing rendition of Frank Sinatra's My Way 2 years ago, and Mrs. Coleus, who handed out homemade soup to graduates last May. Thinking back on those terrific speeches from graduations past, I just have to ask the class of 2017, what were you thinking? I mean, many of you have had me in class. You know I'm going to litter this talk with ridiculous, groan-inducing puns that'll make you want to throw your funny little tassels at me. I can't help myself. It's wired into my DNA. So I apologize in advance that the line of brilliant commencement speeches hits a speed bump this year, and my goofy commencement address commences. That doesn't mean I won't try to give a proper speech. As a matter of fact, I'm going to follow the time-honored speaker's code drilled into the head of every public speaker in Speech-Making 101, and that advice is this. Tell them what you're going to say it, and tell them what you said. So what I'm going to say is a bunch of school-related puns, followed by the mandatory serious message that every commencement speaker is required by state law to impart, and that you'll have already forgotten by the time you throw your hats into the air in jubilation, but not on the stage. Followed by some advice delivered in such a way that the administration and school board will be glad that once a commencement speaker at Alliance High School is chosen, he or she can never be selected for that particular honor again. First then, the academic history of the class of 2017 in puns. It all started in grade school when, like Santa's helpers, you learned the alphabet. Then you moved on to social studies, where, like runners, you learned geography. Like doctors, you lost patience with history because you realized it was old news. I was going to make a fake news comment there, but no. It wasn't long before you tackled math, where you were taught what to call a number that can't keep still, a Roman numeral. Also in math, you learned that decimals have a point. And then in science, you discovered the elements, but you studied them only periodically. And in English class, dear beloved English class, you learned how to write in the past, the present, and the future. It was tense. There you also discovered the joys of nutritious eating, coupled with the genius of William Shakespeare in that classic of the stage, Julius Caesar salad. Until finally, the Board of Education, which had outlawed the Board of Education, Recognize that before you became bored with education, it was time to say congratulations, give you a diploma, and send you into the world. Which brings me to the previously mentioned serious part of my speech. For inspiration, I reach not to literature, but to science, and a line penned by Sir Isaac Newton, probably shortly after he saw that fateful apple fall from a tree and recognized the gravity of his situation. It's kind of like the outfielder who wondered why the baseball was getting so big, and then it hit him. But seriously, Sir Isaac Newton said, and I quote, "If I have seen further, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." In science, this is especially true. The image of the scientist working late at night in her lab, alone and separated from her peers, making an incredible breakthrough, is compelling, but it's also inaccurate. Scientists don't operate in a vacuum, even when they're perfecting the next great sweeper. See, real science is the act of following up on the discoveries of others and adding your own little piece to the overall puzzle. You see further because you build on what has already been done. Take genetics, for example. Today's geneticists are making incredible discoveries that are revolutionizing the world by helping to eradicate and control diseases. But they aren't working in isolation. Rather, they're working as teams, testing and retesting each other's hypotheses and using computer technology and software developed by others to map genetic codes that would otherwise be impossible to calculate. But all these men and women are also standing on the shoulders of giants from the past. People like Gregor Mendel, whose simple but groundbreaking work with peas formed the basis for the study of genetics. Walter Sutton and Theodore Baveri, who advanced the work by showing that the genetic traits Mendel discovered were carried on chromosomes. And later researchers who refined the idea to include DNA, carried by our gametes' 23 chromosomes, and transmitting our genetic material from one generation to the next. Just like those scientists, everybody on this stage, everybody in this room, everybody in this world is standing on the shoulders of giants. And many of those giants are your parents, your grandparents, your friends, your teachers. Everybody who has played some part, no matter how big or how small, in getting you to where you are today. These are the giants in your life, and it is on their shoulders that you now stand. I've had giants in my life, and since I'm fortunate to have some of them in this room with me today, I'd like to introduce them as a way to get you to think about the giants in your lives. In my personal life, giants include my mother, who raised my sister and me as a single parent for many years, working 2 jobs so that we never knew what it meant to go without. My stepfather, who showed me what a real man could and should be after my biological father disappeared. These 2 giants gave me security and confidence and love, and any successes I've had I owe to the example they set and the help they provided. Another giant in my life is my wife. She keeps me centered and focused and takes all my wild ideas in stride. She is my confidant, my voice of reason, the love of my life, and my best friend. She's also the person who told me not to rap on this stage today. Despite all the fun that Mr. Shively, Mr. Smith, and I, inspired by the musical Hamilton, have had dropping sick beats in the classroom this year. Don't rap, she cautioned. My wife's opinion means a lot because she also gave me my most precious gift, my daughter, who 6 days from today will marry her best friend. Kids, marry your best friend. In my professional life, I have giants upon whose shoulders I stand. They are my fellow teachers here at Alliance High School, the incredible people with whom I work each day. People like the Alliance High School English Department, the best group of English teachers in the state of Ohio, and the most caring people with whom I've ever worked. People like Josh Winter, who in my life has gone from student to former student to colleague to friend. People like Renee Barnes. After a health scare that would have sidelined anybody else, she came roaring back to the high school with even more energy and empathy and love for students. People like Richard Morris, who is retiring at the end of this school year after an unbelievable 49 years of shaping student lives and education. Talk about a giant. How many people can say they've stood on Mr. Morris's shoulders at some point in the last 49 years? Figuratively and not literally, I hope. Class of 2017, on your graduation day, I challenge you to discover your own giants, the people who have made you who you are and who have helped you to reach this milestone. I also challenge you to look for giants as you move through the rest of your lives. Those people who can help you grow personally and professionally. People who will fill your days with productivity and your nights with security. And who will help you overcome all of life's challenges. We all have giants in our lives. John Donne wrote that no man is an island, and he was right. So if you're sitting on this stage thinking you have done it all yourself, that nobody's helped you in the slightest, first of all, I call the BS card on that. Family, friends, co-workers, clergy members, teachers, somebody has helped you. But if it's true that you are the exception to Donne's "no man is an island" statement, then my challenge to you is this: become somebody else's giant. Be the person who somebody else thanks. Be the anchor in another person's life, the one who makes work or school easier, the one who makes the impossible possible in the life of a sibling, a child, a neighbor, a friend. As a matter of fact, that should be a goal for everybody on this stage today. Give back what you have been given. Be somebody else's giant, even as you stand on the shoulders of all the influential people in your lives. Thank you. So I've shared my puns, I've gotten serious for a few minutes, and now it's time for the advice. And I have to apologize to my wife because on this occasion I am ignoring her opinion. I am going to rap. But to do this justice, I'll need the help of the entire senior class. Think of it as your last lesson, okay? Clip to the chair in front of you, you'll find a pair of sunglasses. Front row, your sunglasses are clipped to the front of your chairs. Put the sunglasses on. Find that dark blue piece of paper that was on your chair when you processed in so grandly this afternoon. Stand up, get ready to wave those arms in the air, and when I point to you, you're going to sing the last refrain of the rap along with me. School board, you also have sunglasses. Administration, sunglasses. Can you hear me? All right. You guys remember, if I can do this with no talent or rhythm at all, you can do anything you set your mind to. Mr. Lancel, give us a beat. Stand up. Graduation day is here at last. These last 12 years went by so fast. Now you're ready to take the next step. College, military, job, go and make your rep. Wherever you go with your education, you'll always be part of the aviator nation. This is the place you can call home. When you come back, you'll always be known. So here's some advice, not that you asked, so the big wide world doesn't kick your behind. Some things I've learned in my years out here to keep you safe and sassy with a full head of hair. Stick with true friends, they'll never mislead you. With love and respect, they'll never misread you. Keep in touch, Drop them a line on Snapchat, Facebook, or Instagram's fine. Remember, you stand on the shoulders of giants. Look to the sky, shout your defiance. When the world wants you to settle for less, step up and step over, you're bound to impress. Work hard, play hard, go and make your mark. Move the car forward, don't leave it in park. Don't hide or cower, show what you know. This is your moment, so go man go. One last thought, it's worth repeating, even though my time with you is definitely fleeting. Wherever you scatter at the end of the day, remember these last few words I say. Wherever you go with your education, you'll always be part of the aviator nation. This is the place you can call home. When you come back, you'll always be known. Class of 2017, with your education, will always be part of the aviator nation. This is the place we can call home. When we come back, we'll always be known. Oh, I almost forgot. I don't want to break the microphone. Word. Mr. Jackson, I have nothing else to say.
Wow, I got a tough act to follow right now. You know, we talk about our aviator profile, things that we want our kids to be able to do. We want them to be great communicators and collaborators, and we also want them to be courageous risk takers. And Mr. Schillig is definitely a courageous risk taker.